So what would happen if we took the 2022 draft class, the 2023 draft class,
Right.
adding landing spots, what we know from the combine, and we
Wow.
ranked them together?
Let's
Well,
go.
we're going to find out today our top 35 players from each year. Do us a favor, drop a like to show some
Come on.
support. Subscribe if you like Dynasty content. I want you to comment down below who's a player in 2022 that's not getting enough respect. But before we get to the video, Badake, we have probably the biggest announcement we've ever made.
100%.
We are officially partnering with Mason Dodd from Flock Fantasy
Let's
to bring you the
go.
best fantasy/dynasty product we possibly could at flockfantasy.com. This is replacing Patreon.
Yes.
Use our promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off. You'll see a pinned comment in the description below.
Yes.
But this is the best product we could possibly ever give you guys, okay? You're getting rankings, Dynasty Superflex, one quarterback rookie rankings, best ball rankings, redraft rankings.
Come on.
You're getting articles. You're getting bonus live streams and videos. You're getting Dynasty draft guides.
Sheesh,
You're getting access to the best fantasy group chat in the world through Discord. But what is the best part of all of this, Badake? Because it's not only our content on that site that you unlock.
Exactly. So like Zach said, not only our content, but we're also collaborating not only with Flock, with Fantasy Endgame, with Fantasy Stock Exchange. So when you go and sign up and you get our rankings, you also get, once again, those three other guys, creators rankings. So if you come all together, you get brand new content like Zach said, the articles, the bonus content. You get ours and theirs as well, which is so exciting. So you get the best bang for your buck. Also, if you wanted to compare our rankings, which is also a really cool feature. So you want to see where I had Justin Fields compared to where Mason has him, then you can kind of see the difference in our rankings and all the other creators, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. So we're all collaborating to make this site happen. It's giving power to the creators.
Yes.
We're trying to disrupt the industry here, and we're really, really excited about it. Again, most important thing that we can say here is when you use the promo code LAND, LAND, you get 30% off all memberships. There will be a comment pinned below. An annual membership is going to give you an extra 6 months almost off of the price of a monthly membership.
It's wild.
So we truly believe that this could change the fantasy industry. We're really excited about it. And by the way, if you want your trades graded on the channel in our weekly show, if you want the fantasy hotline, which is a DM where we give you advice, make sure you choose the Mother Flocker tier at sign up. Again, use our code LAND. That's how we get your financial support, and that's how we give you the perks that come through that package. So we're really, really excited about that. I hope you are too. And I'm so excited for you guys to go check out the site. There's a 2-day free trial as well if you'd like to go check it out. So let's go ahead and get to the video today. And a lot of these rankings that we're going to talk about, you'll find on flockfantasy.com where you can see as we're kind of doing this video.
Yes.
Badake and I made this very difficult on ourselves because honestly, in 6 tiers, you probably could have had 45 players.
So many.
Genuinely. I genuinely think in these 6 tiers, 45 players, it doesn't sound like a stretch that we could have done that.
No.
I said to Badake, let's make it extremely challenging and let's limit ourselves to only having 35 players. I can only have 35 players. You can only have 35 players, and we'll come together and try and make a list. So here in tier number 6, let's start off, Badake, and let's see how we kind of navigated this. Keep in mind, we're going to tell you the landing spots for these players, for these 23 rookies, and the draft capital that they got. So to start in tier 6, there's a running back who landed with the Atlanta Falcons in the 4th round, 1 round earlier than one Tyler Algier. I know this is controversial, but I do think that he has a chance to take the role there from Tyler Algier. I'm not saying it would be, an 80-20 split, but probably 50-50, and I prefer this player a little bit more. Again, you can disagree with us in the comments below, but Israel Abanikanda went to the Falcons in the 4th round, so I have him here in tier 6. And I would have Tyler Algier right after him, but that was my 36th ranked player.
Yeah, exactly. So once again, we are ranking these guys based on their landing spot and where we project them to be if they had these spots in the draft capital. I like Izzy here. Like you said, you kind of see Izzy come in and you think he kind of takes over this workload at least by the second half of the season. So I'm really excited about this. I do have him in my tier 6.
Okay, that's good to know. And I would say that Tyler Algier would still play a really important role. But Izzy, I think, would end up being like the 55 to the 45 split.
Exactly.
So I also have Greg Dulcich in this tier. This is from the 2022 class. Do you have Dulcich in this tier?
Yeah, I have him here as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was in my tier 6 last time in the other video. So yes, he is in my tier 6.
Yeah, a player we're excited about. Badake and I have agreed that we feel like Dulcich is the 2 on this team behind Jerry Jeudy. Sutton doesn't feel like the same player, at least to us. Let us know if you guys agree in the comments below. But this is almost projecting maybe Sutton is moved, or maybe Dulcich is kind of stepping into that.
There's already rumors as
role.
well that Sutton could be moving. So if he does move, maybe it's just, Greg Dulcich and Jerry and maybe some of these other younger wide receivers that they potentially bring in. So could be interesting.
Yeah, agreed. All right. I have a 2022 rookie or a 2023 rookie running back who landed with the Texans in round 3 next. That is Tyjae Spears. And I have his teammate directly after him from the 23 class, which is Dameon Pierce, who was actually drafted a round later. I just think like if this was truly how it was to shake out, Tyjae in the 3rd round to the Texans, Dameon has proven enough, I think, to warrant kind of like the go ahead at that role. I don't know. Like, do you have these 2 guys in this tier?
I do have them in the same tier. Yes, I do. I just want to speak my piece again with Tyjae. He probably does get a little bit better draft capital. I just still believe in Dameon Pierce and what he can do. I think in my opinion, he's the overall, I don't want to say better talent, but I think the way that the Texans want to move to in this backfield. But hey, with the draft capital, he's in this tier for sure. I would agree.
I would say I definitely agree with you coming. That's why I put Dameon Pierce 1 spot ahead of him. I hear you. I agree with what you're saying. Dameon feels like the better profile to handle a workload in the NFL. Now, Tyjae, I think, what was he at 205 or something? So it's not impossible. But I wanted to give a little bit of respect to Dameon at least. I know Tyjae had better draft capital, but I wanted to give a little bit of respect and at least put him ahead of Tyjae there.
Yeah, I like it. I like the move.
All right, next I have James Cook, and this might be surprising. What, you've been so low on James Cook? You have him ahead of Dameon Pierce now. Let me just explain. The Bills in this mock draft that we used for landing spots did not draft a running back.
Exactly.
So you would assume that it's James Cook heading into the season as their RB1, and they have talked about expanding his role. So this is where it felt comfortable for me. I don't know about you.
I do have James Cook here as well. And I thought the same process. I almost put him in tier 5, but I think there's some other people that I believe deserve to go into tier 5. Yeah. But it was very difficult to put James Cook in tier 6, especially if they're not investing in the running back room in this draft and with all those rumors.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think he definitely deserves a spot in tier 5, but we'll keep him in tier 6.
This exercise was very difficult. Like so many players that I feel like could be moving. Okay, after that, I have a player who rose up a lot in my rankings after the combine. I liked him. I did not expect him to test that well, and I think he put himself on the map at the combine, and that is Rashawn Johnson, who went to the Panthers in the 3rd round. So we assume that he steps in instantly to that Deonta Foreman role, who is a free agent. Maybe we'll see Raheem Blackshear and Chuba Hubbard kind of play the 3rd down role, but Rashawn Johnson probably steps into that role instantly, and I'm seeing a little bit of Brian Robinson kind of role for him there in Carolina, who's probably going to about to get CJ Stroud, so not a lot of weapons in that backfield. I feel like that's where Rashawn should go, but what about you?
No, I like it as well. Really good spot. I have him in my tier 6 also. I love the landing spot. I think that's the difference. Once again, guys, we're doing this based off landing spot. Roscoe Johnson and draft capital. He goes to the Carolina Panthers. There's no one there to compete with him.
Yeah.
There's no one. He's going to be
I like the player. I think it lines up really well. I actually like Rashawn. This is going to be controversial. I like him more as a prospect than Dameon, but people won't like it. It's okay. Okay, so I have one more player in this tier 6. I don't know how many more players you have. I have one more.
Okay.
And that is a running back that I like, and I know the community is obsessed with him. And he gets an incredible landing spot with the Chicago Bears. He is the first pick in the 3rd round. I'm talking about Kendre Miller.
Yeah.
I got Kendre Miller here, first pick, third round. I like the player. I think he's a really well-rounded player. I think he probably becomes their first and second down back. Khalil Herbert maybe takes 40% of the workload, but early third round is good draft capital for a player like Kendre Miller. This is, I'm not going to say best case scenario because I know some Kendre Miller stands out there are going to be like, what do you mean he's going in the second round? But I feel like this is like one of the best case scenarios for a guy like Kendre Miller. So I'll put him here and feel really good about his opportunity there in Chicago. I like the draft capital. I like the player. And let's see how he tests, but I think this is a realistic possibility.
Yeah, we are 6 for 6 right now. I also have Kendre Miller. Once again, I love the draft capital. Obviously, my list is a little bit more jumbled up, a little bit more different compared to what you're probably seeing on the screen. But yes, I love this spot. I love the area. One guy I would say is also on this list for me, by the way, in tier 6 that I've struggled to put on the list, or I struggled to put either in tier 6 or tier 5 based off of the draft capital. Maybe it's an oversight. Maybe there's somebody I didn't see. But Rachaad White, I'm not sure if you had him here.
I have him in tier 5.
Or tier 5. Okay. Yeah, I have him in tier 6. I think a guy that can either be in, that can go in either tier, in my opinion.
I think that's fair. I'm happy to move him down. Similar draft capital.
Yeah, and I think that's what I've been looking at. So I think I like the Bears situation, especially with DJ Moore now, Justin Fields. So I think I like that situation a little bit better over for Kendre over Rachaad White. So I
had him originally in tier 5, but there's probably other players I want to advocate more for, so I'll leave him there.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as we're on the same page there. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So heading into tier number 5, the first player I have, and let's be on the same page for 1 second, guys. This is one of the best tight end classes in the last
it's been a while. The depth,
5 years, 10 years, I don't know. Like, it is an incredibly deep class. So some people are noticing that we're drafting tight ends higher than normal this year. Guess what? Because it's an incredibly good class. Okay.
Yeah.
Not to say that we have like a ridiculous amount of tight ends in this video, but just in general on the channel, I would say this year, don't be surprised by that. I have Dalton Kincaid in this tier 5.
Yes.
You as well. Okay. That's good to know. I have, and I don't know where you stand with this player because I'm happy with the landing spot that he's got. It's a wide receiver from the 23 class. I'm happy with the landing spot he got. I'm a little bit lower on him than you. I can see how he could carve out a role for himself for sure. It's second round, mid-second round capital. It's Josh Downs. I don't know where you would have him. This is kind of where I was comfortable with placing him, but where do you stand? Is this where you have him in tier 5?
I have him in tier 4, but he is not somebody that I'm willing to argue. I like the landing spot. I'm thinking of, he does go to the New England Patriots here in the second round. So I like the landing spot. Like you said, he can carve himself a role. You expect Jacoby Myers to walk, and he probably takes over that Jacoby Myers role. I think he is a better prospect than Jacoby as well. So I can definitely see him really taking a big step.
And Jacoby's a free agent, so he's not going to be there.
Exactly. So that's why I had him in tier 4, especially with all the context that we have so far. But once again, not a guy I'm willing to advocate for right now. I want to use my chips for later, I guess.
So there's been a running back in this class that's been quite polarizing. I have tried to be the medium ground between the people who are obsessed with him and the people who hate him.
Okay.
And that player got drafted in the second round to the Dallas Cowboys, and that player is Devin Achane, okay? I understand where people are coming from, okay? And let me just speak for those people who like Devin Achane for 1 second. We're not expecting Devin Achane to be a first, second, third down running back. We're not expecting him to carry 15 times a game, right? The role we anticipate for him is think of, and you might devalue this player, but in his prime, this was a top 15 option at the position. Think about Tariq Cohen in his prime. Think about what we saw from Jarrett McKinnon last year, right? This is the type of role that we're envisioning. James White, the years with Tom Brady, like this weapon out of the backfield that you can use on third down. You can put him in the slot. There are elite traits that Devin Achane has that other backs who were smaller coming out in previous years did not have. And I think a lot of people are devaluing Achane just because of the size. When in reality, I understand the size and it's a concern, but I'm not projecting him to be used in that way where size is a concern. He's 188 pounds. Think of him as a weapon. We're
Right.
talking about Jordan Addison in this class who's 170 pounds, right? In different position, of course, but like trying to see where my head is at here. He goes to the Cowboys. I feel like at that point they move on from Zeke. You got Tony Pollard, you got A-Chain in the backfield.
Yeah.
And I'd be really excited to see how they utilize him. I could absolutely see him being someone used in the slot, where they're trying to get extra receiving options. He's a great receiving back. So I really love the landing spot. I love the draft capital. And I think the player, to me, he's an outlier. And some people would disagree. Like I was out on James Cook last year. I was out. So, I'm in on Devin A-Chain because there are attributes to his game that these other smaller guys like James Cook did not have. So I'll say my piece on that there.
No, I understand. I have him here as well.
Okay.
I probably have him lower than you have him, but he's only the third player we talked about so far. But Devin, the landing spot is intriguing just because it's the Dallas Cowboys and this is a high-powered offense. But I'm not necessarily sure that is, the way we spoke about his role is like you said, the James White, the Tony Pollard. He's not a guy that's going to be the home run hitting guy that's going to be breaking the tackles and breaking tackles in those areas. Now Tony Pollard steps up to the Zeke role, and Devin A-Chain potentially takes the Tony Pollard role. And yes, maybe he does it a little bit differently. But it's just difficult for me to envision that in that backfield specifically.
And I understand where you're coming from, but keep in mind, I'm saying he's an outlier. Like this player
I would
is
agree.
an outlier. So it wouldn't be easy to do you know what I mean? Like this profile should be someone that you avoid, but I believe he's an outlier, and I'll be wrong if I'm wrong, and I'll happy to hold my hands up. But why don't we? I know you have Josh Downs higher than me, so let's just put him ahead of A-Chain then.
Sure.
If you're happy with that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not fighting or advocaking for anything for Devin. But
I just know that there'll be people in the comments. I'm trying to clear as much as I can.
Sure.
Okay. I have two running backs next that I really love, and I love their draft capital. We were disappointed we didn't see them at all at the combine.
Yep.
And didn't understand, obviously there were some injuries. We're hoping that they're going to be, showing out at the pro days, but I have Sean Tucker here, who went to the Vikings in the third round, and we're projecting maybe they move on from Dalvin Cook. We've heard that they could be moving on from Dalvin Cook. And I also have Zach Evans, who was drafted to the Eagles in the third round. And we have also heard that Miles Sanders is going to be moving on. So two players that I really loved evaluating their film. I think that the ceiling is higher than what the current community is giving them. And I'll put them here in tier 5. I don't know where you have them, but this is I like these players. I feel good about what they could do with draft capital, talent, analytics, and the landing spot.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I know maybe a lot of people would say, well, Daniel, you have Sean Tucker, higher in your rankings. I do, but once again, you got to remember the draft capital as well. He went in the third round here to the Vikings. Mm-hmm. So it's not the best capital, and they could eventually invest in somebody else in a year or two, or maybe somebody else in free agency. But hey, like Zach said, the opportunity is there. They probably move on from Dalvin, and I would say the same thing with Zach Evans. A little bit more comfortable because he was a second-round pick, and again, a high-powered offense. So I have them both in this tier as well.
All right, I've got 3 more players in this tier.
Okay.
The first one is a tight end that you and I really love. He went to the Washington Commanders in the first round, and he was the 16th overall pick. I think he's a complete tight end. I wanted to make sure to put Michael Mayer and Dalton Kincaid in the same tier because I do think there's a good argument out there for those people who say Kincaid could be the better option. I think if Kincaid steps in day one, which, by the way, he was drafted as well in the first round to the Packers, 1 pick ahead of Mayer. I would say if Kincaid, comes into the NFL and transitions the way I think he could, I've heard comps about Mike Gesicki. We've heard insane comps about Travis Kelce. I'm not saying that at all, but this is a receiving threat is what I'm trying to get at. Dalton Kincaid is not going to be in line very much. So if a team drafts him in the first round, I think they have a very specific vision for him that doesn't involve him being a big part of their blocking plans. Now, you would want him to grow into that, but I imagine him playing a lot of slot, a lot out wide, and then, a little bit in line. So I think these tight ends should be really close to each other. So that's why I have them in the same tier. I don't know about you, but
Okay.
I do obviously prefer
Okay.
Michael Mayer. I think he's on the field from day one because of his skill sets. You can put him anywhere. Kincaid needs to grow as a blocker, but probably a better route runner
Yeah, just
than Mayer. So
than Mayer. Yeah, I would agree there. I do have him in my tier 4, but now kind of seeing your thought process and where you actually have him, you have Michael at the top, Dalton at the bottom. I'm happy to put Michael Mayer in tier 5. Right, you're right. There, I believe there is an argument for which one do you prefer, right? In our rankings, I think like you kind of said it already. Michael Mayer is the guy we think is the more complete tight end for an NFL team. But Dalton Kincaid in this scenario got drafted one spot ahead of Michael Mayer.
exactly.
So
yeah, for this exercise,
for this
it's
exercise,
not crazy to put them right by each other.
exactly. It's not. Once again, Dalton Kincaid went to the Packers with the 15 overall pick, and then Michael Mayer went to the Washington Commanders with the 16 overall pick. So back to back. I'm happy to keep him in tier 5.
Okay, cool. All right, I have 2 receivers from the 2023 class in my tier 5 to finish the tier 5 here. I don't know where you have them. So I have Jordan Addison here. He went to the Bills at the end of the first round in this exercise. And then I also have Zay Flowers. Like, you could pick your poison here. If you want Addison ahead, if you want Zay Flowers ahead, pick your poison. Zay Flowers also went in the first round to your New York Football Giants.
Right.
So
right.
I would have those players in that tier there. There's just players in tier 4 that I feel much better about. And my tier 4 is my biggest tier. So, yeah, that's all I would have. Do you have anyone else in tier 5, or do you have these guys in a different tier?
I have both of them in tier 4.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think of where we can kind of meet in the middle. I'm just trying to think. I guess, you know what? I'm happy with both. Maybe I'll go with my homer pick. Let's put Zay in tier 4. Actually, no. Let's put Jordan Addison in tier 4. I like the landing spot. He was he was the better prospect in my eyes coming into to this offseason. So let's put Jordan Addison in tier 4. Keep Zay in tier 5, and maybe we can see where it kind of goes from there.
That's tough for me because I have those players back to back. They're like in a rookie draft right now. It's like A, B.
Exactly.
Who do you want? So I don't know that like putting them in different tiers is tough here.
Yeah, and it means that's the same for me because I have them both next to each other, but in tier 4. So it's kind of
let's put them both up. This tier might be too big. Let's
wait and see what that looks like. How about we?
Okay.
Let's wait and see what the whole tier looks like, and maybe if I see your thought process on tier 4 and the way you built it, then maybe we can
add them.
We can add them, or we can not add them.
All right, let's have that discussion then. All right, heading into tier 4.
Yep.
This is my biggest tier. A lot of players who have proven it year 1, or that I love the talent and we saw glimpses, or there was injuries so we couldn't really see them. This is a big tier for me. Firstly, I have George Pickens in this tier.
Okay, yeah, I'm there with you.
Okay, we love Pickens. We're not anti-Pickens. I know there's a weird community out there that's like, anti-Pickens. George Pickens is overvalued. It's like, look at Keith Drake. He's like the wide receiver 29 right now. He's not overvalued. Okay, I also have, and I wanted to put him higher, and maybe we can have a conversation about this because I don't know exactly where is right to put this player, but I also have Zach Charbonnet here. He went in the second round to the Dolphins. We love the player. I don't know how to rank him in this in this setting right now, but
it's really difficult because, guys, he went in the second round, but he went to the Miami Dolphins. Zach and I have been preaching that Miami Dolphins is probably one of the best landing spots for a running back to go to, in our opinion, right? So I think there's an argument for him to go in tier 3 as well, but also be in tier 4, just depending on who you also have in tier 3.
Yeah.
So I would say let's wait and see how everything pans out. Maybe we can readjust them later.
I think when we shape tier 4, maybe people will understand. It's like, for example, I have Will Levis here, right ahead of him. Difficult to say that in a super flex because we're doing super flex in a super flex format when Will Levis, who went to the Bucks in the first round, he's going to have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rachaad White. It's difficult to put Zach Charbonnet ahead of Will Levis as much as I don't like him, as much as I think he could bust. ahead of, you know, a quarterback like Will Levis.
I hear you.
Um,
I hear you.
so that's tough. I've got another quarterback in Kenny Pickett who I've ranked here.
Yep, I'm
Again,
having him.
first round draft capital. We saw a really good run to end the year. How can we put Charbonnet ahead of him in a super flex format?
So tough. So tough.
Then I have players like, you know, like last year who I believe have proven themselves in Jahan Dotson.
Yes, I
right?
have him here as well.
And we project him to be even better as the years go on. Christian Watson, which you can make an argument, Christian Watson should be even higher than this.
Yeah, I can hear
This
you.
is where we're probably going to disagree, but this is where I would have Quentin Johnston.
Okay.
And then let me just finish it off, and I know that you'll see it differently, and I'll let you say. I also have Treylon Burks here, and I have Jameson Williams.
And Jameson Williams, right?
So,
okay.
I think it's important here in tier 4 to not focus so much on who's ahead of who, but that these players are all in the same tier for me. Again, we said this all last year, but take one of these wide receivers in 2022, you're not going to miss, and that was just the truth. It's hard to put Charbonnet ahead of some of these guys. I know that Johnson is probably in your tier 3.
Yes.
So let me know if that's the case. This is where I would have him. But tell me what you're thinking here.
He is in my tier 3. I'm a Quentin Johnson guy. If you guys are new on this channel, he's my wide receiver 1. I think you kind of pick your poison when you think of Jason Quentin. I like the overall build of Quentin and how he is going to come into the league here, in my opinion. So just to give everyone a little preference. So yeah, I do like. Or thought process. I do like Quentin going in tier 3. If there's somebody I do want to advocate for, I'd rather have him there. And then we can either build or move. And, you know, I guess that kind of brings us back to Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers. I see them maybe
it's tough to not have them here, is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe that's where we see their projection, right? We see their projection being in this tier maybe by next year, right? And Zay, once again, to the Giants. The Giants need some wide receiver help. Jordan Addison to the Buffalo Bills, which is going to be probably their field stretcher, their wide receiver 2, or maybe a slot guy, which I believe he plays better in the slot compared to outside. So it's really tough to not put them in the top tier.
Pop them up here?
Okay. Yeah.
It's tough because I almost feel like they deserve a tier of their own. Right. I have more questions about them than I do all these wide receivers that when we were coming into last year.
I hear you. There.
So I almost feel like they could be like a tier 4B, but just to give them some respect, because I know people won't like it in the comments, we'll leave them here, and we'll call this good for now.
Yeah, love it.
And again, guys, I think it's more important doing this exercise to look at the tiers. These players are valued similarly, rather than, how is Jameson Williams at the top and George Pickens at the bottom? You know, like let's look at the tiers, holistically.
Yeah.
All right, into tier 3. Again, I would personally have Quentin Johnson in tier 4, but I know you're higher on him. I'm happy to leave him in this tier.
Nice.
I've got Jahmyr Gibbs here in tier 3.
Yes, I have Jahmyr Gibbs. By the way, Jahmyr Gibbs went to the Arizona Cardinals in the 2nd round, by the way, guys.
Yep. So he got good draft capital, good landing spot. We like where he landed. I've got, and some people might say he should be higher than this. You and I are trying to keep a cool head and be the voice of reason with one Anthony Richardson. So I did move Anthony Richardson ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
But again, think about these guys in tiers, but I don't think I can put him in a tier 2 like some other people might want. He did go to the Colts in the 1st round.
Yeah.
Do you have him in this tier as well?
I do have him in this tier.
Okay.
I do.
All right. I have Jackson Smith and Jigba in this tier.
Yes.
Who went to the Texans, and we will explain why that is a great landing spot for him in a second.
Exactly.
I have Chris Olave in this tier.
Yes, I'm there with you.
I have Kenneth Walker in this tier.
Yep.
And this might be where we disagree. I have Garrett Wilson in this tier. Last time we did this video, you and I debated for about 15 minutes. I think that Olave and Wilson should be in the same tier. Olave gets a quarterback boost with Derek Carr. Think about what Derek Carr did for Hunter Renfrow. He can definitely do it for Chris Olave.
Right.
Now we can make the case that Garrett Wilson's probably getting a good quarterback as well, and Aaron Rodgers. Now that's most likely happening. We don't know, but I struggle to have Garrett Wilson and Olave in different tiers. But let me ask you, do you have them in different tiers?
I do have them in different tiers.
Okay. Thought so.
How about I'm really happy to move Olave up. How would you feel about putting them in the same tier, but in tier 2? Because I do believe that they do improve in some. At least we hope. The expectation that Gary Wilson does improve in some way with Aaron Rodgers, and you said, Chris, and I agree with you. Chris Olave, look what Derek Carr did with Hunter Renfrow. I think they both improve in some way, in some form. And even if they don't go with Aaron Rodgers, you think of Jimmy G, right? And you think of all these free agent quarterbacks, or not, they're really slimming down now, to be honest. But you think of the next guy is Jimmy G to kind of come in, and he can also make other people or wide receivers fantasy relevant, as we've seen with Debo, Brandon Ayuk. So
yeah, why don't we meet in the middle? And
I'm happy to do that.
We don't have to have a 10-minute debate on if Olave and Wilson should be in the same tier or if they should be in tier 2 or 3. We'll just have both of them up there.
I like it. I like them both.
And I've got Breece Hall as well in this tier.
Yep, I'm there with you.
And it almost feels wrong to not have Kenneth Walker with Breece Hall.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think that's where it comes to, like, okay, we just have to. All these guys, in reality, could potentially one day be in the same tier. Yeah. I think we just, for the sake of the video and for the sake of this experiment, we gotta rock with it. We gotta rock with it.
All right, so I've got 2 quarterbacks in tier 2. You probably know who it is, CJ Stroud. And by the way, CJ Stroud went to the Texans at 2 in this mock draft. Okay, so he links up with Jackson Smith and Jigba, who went with the 12th overall pick. Badake and I have been preaching this for a while. Why wouldn't they do this? Like, this makes so much sense. Finally, someone did it.
Which is awesome.
And then the Panthers grabbed Bryce Young. Who knows what they'll do at 1 here? They grab Bryce Young.
Which is so funny because, in this mock, they take him at the 9. And it'd be so interesting if they moved up to get Bryce Young. Well, you have to move up to get Bryce Young at the 1. Yeah. So let's see if that actually happens. Yeah,
you can interchange these. Hey, if you're a CJ over Bryce guy, then fair enough. I almost feel like there should be more tiers.
I was going to say
I would actually put CJ and Bryce in a tier above these guys.
Exactly. And when I was making my own tier, I thought about what if it was broken down to CJ and Bryce going into tier 1. And I know Bijan is a own breed of his own, but the way we are projecting, the way are we seeing both of these quarterbacks, CJ and Bryce, maybe they do, like you said, they kind of deserve to be on a tier in their own, but at the same time, for the sake of the video,
I just think I think we should take a mental note saying, hey, CJ and Bryce should probably be 1B in a tier in 1B, right?
Yeah,
let's just take a mental note all together and agree that we don't need to make this more difficult as far as like graphic design goes or like editing later, but these guys should probably be in their own tier. And there should be a tier 1B for CJ and Bryce. Agreed?
Yeah, I would agree. And then if that was the case, it would be easier to move Kenneth Walker up, right? It'd be easier to move some of these other people up and put them all in the same tier. But, oddly enough, we didn't disagree too much.
Yeah. I think we've grown a little bit to be like, I don't care if you disagree with me. Let's just put that player there.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
All right, fine. We'll find out if I'm right or wrong. Anyway, guys, that is all for today's video. Do us a favor, drop a like to show some support. I'm sure you've already done it, but comment down below what you disagree with. That's okay. And we've got more videos coming out here soon. Again, friendly reminder, today is the first day we have launched flockfantasy.com with Mason from Flock. We partnered together to bring you the best fantasy/dynasty product we could possibly do. Rankings, articles, bonus content, live streams, Dynasty, draft guides.
So much.
Unlock the best Discord ever. Use our promo code LAND, LAND, at flockfantasy.com. Let's give some power to the creators.
Come on, baby.
All right. All love, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Enjoy your day. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, LAND, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy. Even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.